So, hi everyone. This is our first podcast called Innovate Bay Talks. So, basically, the whole agenda of this podcast is to bring the talks in itself to the whole world. And today we have one of the biggest content creator from India. Now he's like working at a big company. Along with that, he's one of the biggest influencers which I have met, and I have also like take inspiration from him before moving to US. He's having almost like 1.5 million subscribers on YouTube and also almost like 300k followers on Instagram. So let's welcome Singh in USA, often known and called as Harnoor Singh. So,
So, hi Viral. First of all, thank you for having me. And Viral, I got to know through hackathons. He does amazing hackathons all over India and in the US with Hack with US. It was a pleasure being a partner with you at one of the hackathon, and thank you for having me.
thank you so much, sir. And so, first of all, I would just like to know, like, how did you started your journey? Because, like, when I was in my 12th standard, I watched so many of your videos. Like, you mentored me. You saw me like, the right path, like, what steps you need, like, to come, what in order to fulfill before coming to US. So, how did the idea came and how did you started your journey, first of all?
First, it starts with privilege. I come from a school in India, in Punjab, where like 90% of the class was going abroad. So it somehow inspired me to think about going abroad to study as well. So I wanted to study abroad. And during the process, I figured out that US is one of the only country in the world where opportunities are not like given, you create them. Like you coming here, you created opportunities for yourself, hosted like hundreds of hackathons. I figured out I could create for myself as well. And I was watching a lot of content creators who were creating content at like schools like University of Waterloo, and in San Francisco as well. There are more students coming from University of Waterloo to San Francisco than any other university outside California. That was very astonishing for me. So back in 2015, when I used to watch the content, and it's still true right now, that University of Waterloo is one of the biggest here. So that inspired me watching a creator from that university that I wanted to either study in Canada or in the US. And that's how I figured it out. And in the process, I wanted to go to a affordable university. And I was like, I couldn't afford schools like Georgia Tech, UC Berkeley. I did apply, did get rejected, but I did apply to a safe school like Georgia State University, which was very close to one of my great friend Ariander, and he unlocked a lot of opportunities for me at Georgia Tech. So using the location, so in India, there's a saying called to go to good school, you don't need to pay the tuition. You just need good uniform. So by knowing friends and connections, you can actually go there, take it, not take advantage, but like use your resources right, make connections, and that acts as a uniform to open opportunities. Same as like people who travel to New York City, Harvard, MIT, Stanford, they are able to also get get an advantage by being close to that location as compared to paying that tuition fee. So that's the route I chose, and that's how I became here.
Nice,
Came
awesome.
here. Uh-huh.
Once again, thank you so much because like your life inspired many of us, millions of us, like, and it shows the right path, like what to follow to come to US. And I mean, like, I was inspired by you because like when I like as I told you, like when I was in my 12th standard, and even like before, like after doing a bachelor. So when I did apply for masters, I saw many of your reels about hackathon stuff like that, and I still remember, like I used to saw your reel, and like that inspired me to host many hackathons. So currently, what are you working on, like?
Currently, as I moved to Silicon Valley, I am currently working on a company called HydraDB. They do graph database like Neo4j, but faster, cheaper, with lower latency, etc. So I wanted to be in the heart of Silicon Valley and actually be closer to where the wave of AI is heading towards. That in like 10 years ago, how big Snowflake and Databricks was, that is what's going to happen to vector databases, graph databases. That's the bet we are playing. So that's really excited me. So I was like, I want to work at a company like HydroDB where you can achieve those goals towards where AI agents are built. So every AI agents need like context and memory, and that's like going to be very important. So that's what I'm working on and being a devrel. As a developer, you're kind of doing marketing and building projects on top of your product. So it's kind of like marketing plus development and open source development plus like some little bit sales. So it's kind of a mixture of all roles, but it's really fun. It's a new role. I segued from software developer to this role, and I'm really enjoying so far.
Another question, like, so you have already partnered with a lot of companies, like in SF, outside SF, in US. So what are the best three companies that you would like to work on, or maybe in future, something like that?
So in terms of like YouTube or like career
Yeah, I mean,
development.
like, what are the like, what are the best company that you may like follow, like follow to work on? So yeah.
So I think the companies that I really follow are like because of the people who work there. So I think the talent density of people working in companies like Thinking Machines from Mira Murati and companies like Cognition is like really intense. So if you think about Cognition, the top 10 code forces, top 10 International Olympiad of Informatics, top 10 Olympiads like mathematics are there. So I think that talent density is really high. So like working with one of the smartest people is really cool. And this is a new wave, by the way. Like 20 years ago, or like even like 10, 15 years ago, companies were built by MBA folks. Now it's being built by engineering folks.
Yeah.
So it's a new thing, and seeing these companies emerge is very exciting for me. So they are my favorite.
Yeah, and for Cognition, like I would like to also mention that Cognition also doing like a lot of guerrilla marketing in SF. I saw a lot of billboards. I saw a lot of like bus marketing, and like it's really inspireful. Like their new like tool called Devin
Devin,
is out there. But yeah, so really impressive.
what is guerrilla marketing, by the way?
Is guerrilla marketing is placing like banners, brands, like awareness on big billboards, on trains, on buses, stuff like that. So
Oh, like a big gorilla on the
yeah,
streets.
exactly, yeah. So Cognition is doing like really impressive job on the streets itself, and I saw a lot of more companies, like doing that kind of stuff. So in general, other cities, like we often watch, like as like normal energy drinks, cold drinks, something like that. But in SF, the best part is, like we saw like AI tools getting advertised like on every street. So another questions comes up from here. So why do you think like SF is different than any other city in the from the rest of the world?
I think it's different because everyone speaks the same language. That is not English,
Yeah.
not Punjabi, and not Mandarin. It's AI. Like everyone understands RAG, everyone understands LLM, everyone understands fine tuning,
Yeah.
context engineering, harness engineering, now loop engineering. So you could literally talk about this on the streets. There are companies like having banners like CLI versus MCP talking openly on the streets. There are promotions for free cleaning. I literally got my apartment cleaned, our apartment cleaned through an AI native service, which gave us $100 discount. So these kind of things are like very new and very exciting for me, and it's nowhere else in the world that I've seen.
The best part, I'm also seeing a lot of billboards, like which normal folks cannot understand. For example, like if the Versal guys did a like great job on billboards, so they published like technical billboards. So only the developers can understand those kind of billboards. So it's like coding on a billboard, and that's really impressive. So yeah, and I do believe like SF is like 6 months ahead than rest of the US because of the all the technical enthusiasts over here, and the kind of like ecosystem that is built around over years, and US is like way ahead than any other countries. But yeah, so that's my bet on SF. Like I moved from Chicago to SF. I just like feel the difference. I've been to like New York City, DC, Seattle, many other cities, and like to be honest, I love the San Francisco environment the most. Being as a like general and or community manager, so I love the like the environment over here. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even thinking about the competition, like I want to add on, like the opportunities SF opens. I see so many startups when I was trying to get hired in San Francisco, they don't even ask that. Oh, you have like, are you on green card, citizen, or sponsorship? Because they first of all want to figure out, are you talented enough for the company? And these talks happen after that. They first vet you that you are smart enough for us. You're gonna be like making the ball rolling on day one. If they see that vibe, then they are willing to sponsor you and spend thousands of dollars for that as well.
So for the visa category, like now, like another question pops up here. Do you still recommend like people to come from India, different other countries to US for higher studies? Like, do you?
I mean, think about it, right? Here you see people who are like, I don't need sponsorship. Some people do need sponsorship. So, thinking about them, all are on the same stage to compete to land their
Exactly.
next opportunity. If you think about OpenAI, Anthropic, they have highest number of researchers working on an O1 visa.
Exactly.
And those companies are not thinking that, oh, if I want to hire a researcher, that researcher has to be a US citizen. They're trying to hire the best researcher, not like they are trying to hire the best researcher who's going to compete with not just in the SF ecosystem, but with the researchers all around the world. So if you have the ability to compete with not just in the US, but with all around the world, you should try and give a chance.
Yeah, I do have the complete same opinion on this side because like when I was like doing this stuff in India, like and moving over here like completely changed my life because like the amount of network that I got, like because the main global digital power is in the US, and in the US more specifically in SF, because like all the big tech companies are over here, like most of the headquarters are over here. So yeah, like I also have the same opinion, and it's also called land of opportunities, and particularly US rewards like the people, the hardworking people. So if you're doing like hardworking job or something like that, you will get rewarded soon enough or something like that. So yeah.
100%.
What advice would you give to international students before coming to US? Like if like the best free advice if I can hear from you, so in person, like.
So I think best advice would be to be like us.
Yeah.
Yeah, like not trying to show off, but like think of coming to the US not just to get opportunities but to create opportunities. Think how you can think on an opposite way. And I want to give an example of Aviral again. He is hosting one of the highest number of hackathons in San Francisco. He is like partnering with a lot of companies and allowing them to get distribution through his community of developers. And we did a hackathon together. This is not like an opportunity he's taking in the US, but creating for other companies to actually promote their like product with developers not just in the US but all over the world. So thinking in the reverse way, this is not about making money. This is about creating opportunities and things open up. Did you get this job a rocket ride through hackathons as well?
Yeah, I mean, like, I do this job, like, by hosting hackathons. Like, Rocket was my partner, like, I guess, like, 8 months ago. And
Oh,
they saw my work, they hired me, so yeah.
now you're doing internship, now full time almost.
I mean, I'm doing an internship because, like, my
Uh,
visa doesn't allow. But, yeah.
Very cool. I mean, so same. I think I'll say in my way. I when I say creating opportunities, I was like trying to make videos, even though I was not making money. Like trying to make videos, trying to help others. Sometimes day in life of a software developer, which inspires more people to become a developer. So the videos I made help someone. So if you think from perspective of like adding value to someone's
Yeah,
life, that means you're creating opportunities for others. So
exactly.
creating content on Medium, LinkedIn, Twitter, Substack, and all that really counts.
Exactly. So my, like same opinion because like like what I don't want to follow rat race. I want to do something different than what my other batchmates are doing. So like when I was like while I was in my bachelor's, like, I was writing blogs when I was 18. At age of 19, I was teaching like students, like first year students, 12th year, 12th standard students. So I was always like just want to be a bit different than the rest of the others, and I found my right spot. I got the kick in like by hosting some hackathons and becoming one of the biggest. So that's how like I continued my passion and hosted a ton of hackathons like in SF, like from started from Delhi, and now yeah, I'm hosting like worldwide. So basically we operate in 10 plus countries now right now,
Uh-huh.
and yeah. So yeah, I mean like that's a pretty same opinion from my end as well. So yeah.
Wonderful. Awesome.
So you have also worked with like Microsoft, and now you're working with a startup. So what's the difference, like from moving a big tech into a startup? Like I have opinion like working in a startup, like grows your personal like, career like a lot, rather than working in a big tech because like like you get to learn a lot things in a startup, and many other opportunities comes away when you're running a startup. But like what's the major difference by like or in working in big tech or maybe like in a startup?
So I think in startup, the biggest difference is about how definitive the requirements are. So I will give an example. So let's say I give you a task, which is a in like product managers make something called PRD, uh, product like what is it called?
Requirement doc.
Okay, product requirement doc. So they give you a concrete like list of requirements. This is what you have to do. When I was a developer, I was like, okay, I know I have to do this, this, this. Now the goal is as a DevRel, okay, figure out make something with our product and show off to the world and make it good. So this is a very vague requirement. I have to figure out what is out there, what can I build with our product, how can I make it cooler, how can I make sure more developers like it, how can I make it relatable, how can I tell a better story. It's a very vague requirement, and you have to always be creative and have ownership. So let's say like one blog doesn't work. Who's reviewing? I am reviewing and getting feedback from one or two people and shipping fast. So a lot of things work really, really fast, and it's a cool thing I got to learn. And things are very ambiguous. So you have to like seek clarity on your own, read documents, figure out on your own, and continue working. So I think the difference between again working for a big tech versus a startup is if you do a mistake, you figure out through your bosses.
Exactly.
Now you figure out from yourself
Yeah.
and improve.
Yeah.
So that's what I've learned.
Yeah, again, so I was working for a company called Logitech. It's one of the biggest, hardware brands. So like, there was like pretty chill environment, but like while working in a startup, so I got to like learn a lot from like the mistakes and also see the growth from how a startup is growing like from 0 to 100 and 100 to like 1,000. So that like helps us to like improve our career as well, because like if we are having that experience on a very young level, and I mean like you also started like from very young age, but yeah, so if you do have the experience on the young level, that will be like contributing towards the end and hoping to have some better opportunities for ourselves, and like then we will be creating some more opportunities for the world. So yeah.
100%.
What are the best three tech startups in the SF that people are always looking out for, like?
I'll say three categories of startups. I mean, there are a lot of categories to talk about. Like, there is first, like, the labs, neo labs, the labs who are creating AI models, and there are like 60 plus labs which have raised like at a valuation of more than $1 billion. 60 plus lab at a valuation of billion. So that means they have raised anywhere from 50 million to like more than a billion. So these are the labs which are creating models. A new lab example would be Thinking Machine, which made a interaction model, basically a voice model better than ChatGPT voice. And similarly, there are a lot of labs. Number two would be agent startups like Cursor, like even like now Claude Code and Claude, both agents and even the models are made by the same company. Another agent startup is Cognition. Now they're also making models. And number three will be the application layer that people will be using directly, such as you using a calorie tracker app like Cal AI, or such as a cool app to do SaaS, a SaaS powered by AI. So these are like three layers, and fourth layer, what I'll say is in between is database or memory or context, which itself has a lot of layers as well. There are companies which are making the database directly, companies making database wrappers, which are like memories, and like these are two layers in the layer of like databases as well. So these are, I'll say, five layers. You could choose which layer excites you. And I mean, there are even, you can go even bigger route like AI agents for finance, and that comes in SaaS. But even for a other route, which is for hardware, which is called deep tech, that is also very exciting. I think the sad part about Silicon Valley is the smartest people in the world want to work for SaaS, and no one really wants to like do deep tech stuff. So we were talking in our apartment with Ariander that like it's kind of surprising that in like 70 years ago during World War II and stuff, people wanted to invent something really out of the box, something hardware, and now people are, everyone smartest people are around software.
What do you often use, like Codex, Claude?
I use both actually. I even use Cursor.
Oh, I see.
So, but depends on the use case. So, I was trying the new Grok model. I tried through Cursor. I for I have a new, I will say I have a new decision making process of which model to use for that. So I have a new decision making process. I use Fable to figure out the
Oh,
tasks. So because Fable is really good at planning, so subtasks are made. I give it to a cheaper model like Sonnet, or sometimes to even to Codex if it's decently heavy. But planning always done by the strongest model, and subtasks done by some sort of weaker model. And you can even ask Fable to choose a model for a task, and it'll make it happen.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, like when I used Fable 5 when it was recently launched, and in fact, like there was a launch party at Shark 15, and the co-founder for Anthropic was coming in, but like after the ban, that event was cancelled, and it turned to an hackathon, like 8 hours hackathon, and yeah, but I was really inspired, like what Anthropic is doing right now because like they are, like just revolutionizing the whole industry. Like I personally use like Cloud Code most of the time, so for my day-to-day operations, for like, one of the best coding agents. But yeah, how would you describe like current job market like in US?
I think right now is the hottest period of job market. Most companies have a good budget starting for quarter three. So 1st July onwards, quarter three has kicked off. A lot of people are switching jobs. This is also the time I switched jobs in my 6 year career. My first job I started in July. Second job NCR to Microsoft, it happened in July. So this is one of the hottest market, and I think hiring starts like May, June to July, August, and after that people are like companies are a bit stingent. So I will say right now is the best time if you want to move and if you want to like apply and find jobs as a student or as already like working for a company. And I think the best strategies are like being very vocal about it. Like people think that not announcing on Twitter, LinkedIn is like something, to be ashamed of. People lose their dignity doing that. But I think that's one of the best ways to show off your skills, that, oh, I got laid off or I'm trying to explore opportunities. Rather than saying that I'm leaving the company, you say I'm exploring opportunities in this. And this way, more recruiters automatically reach out to you. And that's how it happened. Most of the time when I've switched jobs, more recruiters reach out to me than I reach out to them. So I think you really have to learn that in terms of search engine optimization for Twitter, LinkedIn, and other sources.
And I completely agree because like while in SF, I like, there are plenty of events happening day to day on daily basis. So I brought some of my friends to some of the events. They got immediately hired. No resume verification, no interview. They so basically like just from connections, they got an interview call from the CMO, from CEO, from the top tech officials, and they just hired directly. So I'm pretty like obsessed with the like the culture over here that people just go to random events, they get hired, and I guess like it's only different in SF. Like I'm not seeing any of that culture like in any other city because like I mean like the type of demographics that every other city has is like a bit more different. But I'm just like my vision is to like move that like vision to every other city so that like people from different cities can also get the tech opportunity from their city. So our main focus is like to partner with like the big techs and from the companies and bring that opportunities to like young developers, working professionals and stuff like that. So for people watching this podcast from around the world, because like as we are like really promoting this like all of our community channels, so what will the best advice that you would be giving on any advice like from career or maybe life, something like that?
I will say the best advice would be to not be yourself and fake as some other personality. Just kidding. Okay, no, let me repeat. I will say the best advice will be to not be yourself and to emulate or like simulate some other personality. Jokes apart, I'll say I think you really have to be your true self. I think everyone has some unique ability in their own way. Like someone might be a great storyteller, someone might be great at explaining some tough concept, someone might be like great at coding some projects which are like related to like rust, like deep engineering work is needed. So I think it's really important to show off that abilities well on Twitter, LinkedIn, or even Threads, or even Blue Sky, whatever social media you think you want to start with, because every social media is different, the algorithms are different. And I believe that somehow, like when you post about it randomly, some other social media kicks off, and even if a different social media is helping you, you always can like, you know redirect your followers to the to the social media you want. So I will say post on multiple social media platforms, show off your abilities, because you are unique in your own way, and whatever you like building, just post it as soon as possible, and keep posting through consistent efforts, because consistency is the key.
So one of the last questions like that we had. So where do you see like AI and like the future of AI in the next 5 years or 10 years? So because like I'm asking these questions because like 5 years back there was no ChatGPT, and when ChatGPT came in, it changed everything. So at the very first, like in my earlier days, I was using like Stack Overflow to find my bugs, find my queries. I was just working on, and nowadays it's much more simpler for making websites, for making platforms, and we are seeing so many of amazing startups that is built by AI and that is run by like big entrepreneurs, and many of the companies got like pretty crazily big. So what is the future that you are saying like in like next 5-10 years like?
So right now it's been 3.5 years since ChatGPT came. And if you think about the future in 3.5 years, we reach from like AI to chat to AI controlling our operating system to AI publishing and playing with mainly text, video, audio, and multimodality. And now, in next future, people predict is AI models becoming so smart as like Fable we saw. I think people will be able to do research, even like research in scientific methods, as all the labs are predicting. So if you look at AlphaFold as an example, so AlphaFold was the moment when a research done by Google DeepMind allowed lot of chemistry people. Let me say it again. Let's take an example of AlphaFold. AlphaFold allowed a lot of people who were doing research in the world of protein, understanding protein. It allowed millions of proteins to be understood for free. So think about how AlphaFold movement can happen in physics, computer science. So people building software for free in seconds or milliseconds in future, but not like end-to-end software. But I'm talking about as an analogy to AlphaFold. It'll happen for different industries. That's what I believe. A simple analogy would be chemistry to physics. You will be able to understand a tough physics concept and invent something in physics like AlphaFold as well.
So one last advice for us. So basically, we are just starting this podcast channel, and this is the first episode of our podcast called Devnovate Bay Talks. So as you have approximately more than 1.5 million subscribers on YouTube, how do we scale to 1 million subscribers in like in 2 years? Like,
I will say just figure out the trends, catch the waves, and present in your unique ways. I think at this point, everyone is a storyteller, and you cannot predict what takes audience like the most. Be your genuine self, and people connect with you with what you are rather than what you can become. So trying to be honest and try different ideas, catch all the waves with different guests or with your own ideas, and I'm pretty sure one of them will help you reach more
exactly.
followers.
And so this was our first episode for Devnovate Bay Talks. We are hoping to have more episode with industrial leaders. So we will be calling them everyone at this particular stage to have a normal discussion of 20 to 30 minutes. I hope you like it. If you like it, just subscribe it. And we are hoping to have some more podcasts very soon enough for